Thoothukudi Massacre, also known by various other names such as the Thoothukudi Violence, the Thoothukudi police firing, the Sterlite protest firing and so on, denotes events that took place on 22 and May 23, 2018 in Thoothukudi, Tamil Nadu, India. The violence took place during an ongoing protest against proposed expansion of a copper smelter plant run by Sterlite Corporation in Thoothukudi Town. Police opened fire on the protesters, killed 13 people and left 102 injured. Several policemen were also injured during the protests. On May 22 morning, the 100th day Anti Sterlite protests, thousands of people marched towards the Thoothukudi Collectorate against legal prohibitory orders passed by the district administration. The agitated protesters overpowered police, started pelting stones and torched vehicles. Police opened fire, killing 12 persons on May 22 at various places in Thoothukudi Town, and as the protest continued, one more person was shot dead on May 23. In a related incident, a woman was killed when miscreants, during anti-Sterlite protests, torched a bus on May 25 at Srivaikuntam. Another man died after 5 months of being in coma in October 2018, after getting injured in lathi-charge by police.The Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI, in November 2018, registered cases on several unidentified police personnel and revenue department officials of Tamil Nadu for the death of the 14 protesters, including cases of criminal intimidation and criminal conspiracy. The United Nations condemned the firing by the police as excessive and disproportionate. Sterlite Copper has been facing resistance from the local fishermen's groups in the area ever since the plant was given permission to be established by the Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board in 1994. Sporadic protests have occurred in Thoothukudi since 1999, directed against the Sterlite Copper smelting works, the factory owned by Vedanta Limited, a subsidiary of Vedanta Resources. Protesters opposed the soil, water, and air contamination caused by the factory. An epidemiological study carried out by Tirunelveli Medical College in 2006-07 found an increased prevalence of respiratory diseases and ear, nose, and throat (ENT) morbidity in the 5 km radius of Sterlite Industries. The study reported the prevalence of respiratory diseases in the area at 13.9%, which was far higher than the state average. The prevalence of asthmatic bronchitis is 2.8%, which more than 2 times the state average of 1.29%. Myalgia, general body pain, is another extensively reported symptom in women were often found to have menstrual disorders, like menorrhagia and dysmenorrhagia in the area. Their report blamed it on the air pollution caused by the industry's thermal power plants and automobiles in the area. The groundwater iron content in the area of the plant has been found to be 17 to 20 times the allowable limit, causing additional health problems for the population already experiencing higher than average incidence of respiratory diseases. During the time of the study at 2007, Sterlite was operating at about 18 to 42%, compared to its 4 lakh tons per annum in the year 2017-2018. The 1998 report by National Environmental Engineering Research Institute, NERI, the levels of selenium, arsenic, and lead in treated effluent were higher than specified standards. The team also found dead birds after they consumed the water mixed with the effluent, and also reported that the industry's process of cooling the effluents can cause health hazards to the staff and residents in the local region. In another instance, the NERI reported water samples from dug wells and bore wells around the spot were found to be non-drinkable due to its high chemical content. During 1998, the industry was operating at 10% capacity, compared to that of 2018. In a 2005 environmental audit by NERI, the samples from a village 2 kilometers northwest of the factory had levels of cadmium, copper, lead, chromium, and arsenic 2 to 9 times higher than allowed levels. Soil samples were also analyzed in areas surrounding the plant during the study, and arsenic levels ranged from 133 milligrams per kilogram to 287 milligrams per kilogram, where soils containing more than 50 milligrams per kilogram of arsenic are supposed to treat it as a hazardous waste under the Indian law. In October 2010, sampling tests by an NGO, Community Environmental Monitoring, found salinity level in an open well to be of 7854 mg/liter. Well levels exceeding 2000 mg/liter can badly damage the crops. Another water sample from a bore well had sulfate levels 10 times higher than the average. A soil sample from the same spot contained 335 g/kg of iron, and an ingestion of just 3.5 grams by a child can be a serious case of iron poisoning. A scientific study in 2017 found most of the groundwater samples in the area are highly contaminated with heavy metals like arsenic, lead, boron, etc., which were higher than the World Health Organization's prescribed limit. The Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board, TNPCB, observed that the unit has been releasing poisonous gas in the air. TNPCB identified that the sulfur dioxide levels went off the scale on the night of March 23, 2013. It showed a reading of 2939.55 ng/cubic meter against the decreed limit of 1250 ng/cubic meter. On April 9, 2018, the TNPCB accused the Sterlite copper of causing groundwater pollution. On July 6, 1997, the Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board told the company to shut down after a sulfur dioxide gas leak which hospitalized more than 90 people. The Sterlite copper factory also made headlines in 2013 after a suspected sulfur dioxide gas leak from one of its smelter. The plant was blamed for health issues observed in the area related to gas leakage, and residents nearby complained of coughing, wheezing, eye irritation, and miscarriages following the leak. Following the alleged gas leak in March 2013, the then Chief Minister, the late J.J. Lalitha, ordered its closure. The company appealed to the National Green Tribunal, which overturned the government order. The state moved the Supreme Court against it, where the petition was still pending. The plant closed on March 27, 2018, with the company citing a 15-day maintenance process. The Supreme Court ordered the company to pay a 100 crore fine for polluting the water, air, and soil around the plant, and the factory was temporarily shut down by the pollution regulator. About 150 people were arrested in protests against the plant. In June 2019, the Tamil Nadu government reported that there were 84 incidents of gas leaks at Sterlite Copper in the year 2013 alone, to the Madras High Court. The wave of protests started when Sterlite's plan to increase the capacity from 400,000 tons to 800,000 tons per year. In corporate statements, Sterlite has said it would make the plant one of the world's largest single-location copper smelting complexes. Residents started calling for an indefinite dharna and hunger strike on February 12, and over 250 people started an indefinite hunger strike. Over 500 people, including many women and schoolchildren, blocked the company gates until they were rounded up and arrested on 14 February 2018. Since then, protests have been ongoing, day and night. On March 24, thousands of protesters gathered in Thoothukudi Town to demand closure of the plant, which was supported by the traders of the town by shutting down the shops. Media reports suggests that this was comparable to the 2017 Pro-Jallikattu protests, and Thoothukudi protest has shaken the state. The Sterlite management responded by stating that they have got necessary permission for expansion of the plant. Actor-turned-politician Kamal Hassan visited Kumareddyappuram village in support of the protest on April 1. Meanwhile, the plant was shut for 15 days for taking up maintenance works on March 29. The protesters claim that the company went on to expand despite the rejection by the government. The protests were joined by traders of Thoothukudi City Central Trade Association on the same day, following calls for a bond by coordinator of the protest N. Krishnamurthy. It is also reported that section of the Traders and Lorry Owners Association did not participate in the March 24 protest. According to media reports, police sources confirmed the company's allegation that external forces instigating agitations. One of the company representative denotes rubbished the agitation as false propaganda and said the smelting plant maintained very low emission level. Vico has sought an injunction against the functioning and extension of the copper smelting plant in the Madurai bench of High Court of Madras. A division bench of the court sought a counter be filed for the existing unit and posted the case for further hearing on June 7. Meanwhile, Sterlite moved the Madras High Court for passing prohibitory orders under IPC Section 144, as it feared the protest to be organized on May 22 may turn violent. The petitioner alleged that there was a plan to unleash violence and even burn down the factory, and said the regulatory order banning assembly of 4 or more persons could prevent such incidents. By May 11, various organizations protesting against the plan had joined together and formed Thoothukudi District Anti Sterlite Forum and planned to mark the 100th day of the ongoing round of protest. The original plan of the protesters was to storm the Collectorate. District administration called 23 people belonging to the trader associations and anti-Sterlite activists from the protesters, including the environmental activist Fatima Babu, on May 20 for a peace meeting. The members agreed to shift the venue after pressure from the government, from the collector's office to SAV ground, and to convert the protest as attention-seeking protest. Fatima was soon expelled by the protesting group after she agreed to the shift. The members present in the meeting said they agreed, but the activists pointed out that it was impossible to communicate this shift of venue to people inside the district and out of the district, as there already had been an aggressive campaign for the protest notifying its venue as Collectorate. Two groups of people protested separately on May 22. One of them was protesting an attention-seeking protest at SAV ground and the other was marching towards the collector's office. Soon both the groups joined together and marched toward the collector's office. Police resorted to lathi-charge and fired tear gas shells at the crowd after disagreeing with the protesters who wanted to stage a sit-in. There were about 2,000 police personnel and a crowd of over 20,000 protesters. The district administration played down the intelligence reports of mass mobilization of over 18,000 people in the district, assuming that expulsion of Fatima and imposition of Section 144 would de-escalate the protest. An employee of the Sterlite Corporation claimed the involvement of groups like Makalathakaran and Foil Vedanta in the protests. On May 22 morning, the people from coastal areas started marching to the collector's office from the local Our Lady of Snows church around 10 a.m. Police tried to stop the crowd at the church, but the crowd were determined to march. Media persons were beaten up by the crowd and one of them got a hand fractured. Camera of one press photographer's was damaged. In spite of picketing on the way, crowds swelled as the march progressed. Meanwhile, police had barricaded roads near the villages close to Sterlite, and as a result, a majority of the original protesters, villagers from Kumarediappuram and its neighboring areas, could not reach the protest site at all. An argument started between the police and the protesters in front of the first barricade after some protesters asked them why they were siding with the Sterlite. The police started to lathi-charge against the people after seeing that they were uncompromising. Another section of protesters joined the attention-seeking protest at the SAV ground, but later joined the rally for besieging the collector's office by seeing the larger crowd in it. At VVD traffic signal, a four-road junction in the Lathi-Charge road, about 6 kilometers from the collector's office, police stopped them with barricades. The crowd was about 5,000 to 10,000 as per various sources. The police started lathi-charging, but the crowd proceeded to collector's office. Several protesters said that the police let loose 2 huge bulls at the protesters in an attempt to disperse the protesters. The crowd pelted stones and hurled footwears at the police who were wearing protective gears. One police van was pushed down when the police retreated. Police tried another attempt to stop the crowd near Third Mile Bridge on the Lathi-Charge road and tear gas was used to quell the rioting mob, which continued to regroup. An explosive substance was thrown at the police. The mob torched 2 police vehicles near PNT Colony and torched few bikes stationed beneath the bridge connecting Thoothukudi Massacre national highways. By the time the mob reached the collector's office, the size was about 20,000. The mob continued entering to collector office campus despite attempts of police to stop them. The police started shooting against the protesters, without any formal warning. After tear gas and lathi-charge proved ineffective, the police started shooting at the protesters and were also accused of shooting without any formal warning. Police were also reported of intentionally shooting at the heads of the protesters. 13 protesters were killed, including a 17-year-old school student, and dozens were injured. Another man injured in lathi-charge by the police passed away in October 2018, after being in coma for 5 months. Thus, taking total death toll increased to 14. First filed in local police stations, claimed that the order to shoot was issued by officers in the rank of deputy tahsildars, and people pointed out that only collectors have the authority to issue shooting orders. The Tamil Nadu government ordered a shutdown of internet in the entire districts of Tuticorin, Tirunelveli, and Kanyakumari for 5 days after the firing. The autopsy results revealed that 12 of the 13 members killed during the protests got hit by bullets in their head or chest, while half of those were shot from behind. In the case of a young girl, the bullet entered through the back of her head and exited through her mouth. While the police rules allowed them to use live bullets to stop protests, the gun should be aimed below the waist level and policemen should not shoot to kill. A video shot from the proximity of the policeman during the protests shows a policeman aiming at protesters from atop of a van with a gun, and a voice in the background can be heard saying, "At least one must die." In November 2018, the CBI filed cases against police personnel and revenue department officials in Tamil Nadu for the death of the 13 people killed during the protests. The CBI charged the accused with criminal intimidation, criminal conspiracy, and disobeying law with the intention to cause injury to people. This comes after the several environmental activists questioned the National Green Tribunal's appointed panel, which said that the state government's action to close the plant after protests was illegal. Indian National Congress Party President Rahul Gandhi described it as state-sponsored terrorism. Rahul Gandhi also tweeted the Tamils were killed because they refused to acknowledge the philosophy of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, RSS, and bullets of RSS and Modi can't crush the Tamil people's spirits. Human rights experts from the United Nations condemned the use of lethal force by the police against protesters who were marching against problems of legitimate environmental and human rights and said the firing was excessive and disproportionate. Seaman condemned the firing, and his political party held a rally in Tirunelveli condemning the shooting. Kamal Hassan was one of the first political leaders to arrive to Thoothukudi to see the injured in the hospital after the shootings. He said he saw about 20 people in the Thoothukudi government hospital with gunshot wounds on their upper bodies, indicating that they had been shot from a long distance. He also said that the police were aiming for the shoulder and the gut. Actor Vijay visited the families of those who were killed in the protests. He also gave every family a solatium of 1 Indian rupee lakh. Vico and M.K. Stalin demanded investigations into the shootings. Thoothukudi Gandhi, the coordinator of May 17 movement, took the issue to the 38th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council, UNHRC, Geneva in July 2018. On August 9, 2018, Thoothukudi Gandhi was detained by immigration authorities at Bangalore airport on his return to India and charged for speaking about the Thoothukudi firings at the UNHRC. Court, later, refused to remand him under judicial custody as it found the charges are baseless. National Human Rights Commission of India demanded investigation into the killings. It asked its Director General, Investigation, to send a team headed by an SP to visit the spot and conduct an inquiry. Tamils and Tamil diaspora across the world, including United States, Canada, Europe, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and Australia, held protests against the killing. The opposition party of the United Kingdom, the Labour Party, called for Vedanta to be removed from the London Stock Exchange. The UK's Shadow Chancellor, John McDonnell, said taking away Vedanta resources out from London financial markets would deter reputational harm from the road firm that has been functioning illegal mining issues for years. McDonnell said in a statement, after the firing on the protesters this week, regulators must now take action. Vedanta must be immediately delisted from the London Stock Exchange to remove its cloak of respectability, restore confidence in the governance of the stock exchange, and prevent further reputational damage to London's financial markets from this rogue corporation. Actor Rajinikanth said the entire problem started after anti-social elements attacked police and burned down collector's office. As a result, peaceful protesters were killed. If you undertake protest for each and everything, Tamil Nadu will be turned into a cemetery. His reaction to the firing was criticized on the social media. Following his controversial statements regarding the Thoothukudi police firing, the Tamil activist groups in Norway and Switzerland banned the release of Rajinikanth's film Kavala in Norway and Switzerland by the scheduled worldwide release date as of June 7. The Tamil diaspora groups in Norway and Switzerland announced that they would not release the films of actors in the future who deliberately hurt the feelings and attitudes of Tamil people following the comments from Rajinikanth on Tamils. However, the ban was later lifted and the film was released within a week, a day before the scheduled worldwide release in Switzerland and Norway. The actor was also summoned to appear before the one-man commission probing the incident on February 25. However, the actor cited professional engagements and disturbance caused to the public if a star of his stature arrives at the court to decline appearing before the commission. On May 28, 2018, the Sterlite factory was sealed after an order given by the Tamil Nadu Environmental Pollution and Forests Department. The next day, State Industries Promotion Corporation of Tamil Nadu, SIPCOT, announced that it would take back 342.22 acres of land that it had given for expansion of the facility. Many political leaders including M.K. Stalin, Seaman, and Ambumi Ramadas criticized the sealing order, saying that it would not stand up to legal scrutiny since the government had given no reason for shutting down the factory. On February 15, 2019, Shanmugam Thungasmug, an environmental activist better known as Smugilan, held a press conference in Chennai where he claimed that the senior police officials in Tamil Nadu conspired with the officials of the Sterlite Corporation to carry out the gun shooting which killed 13 people. During the meeting, he also voiced his fear that his life is in danger after releasing the video evidence. Separately, in a press release, He accused the police of burning vehicles and vilifying anti-Sterlite protesters. He also went missing on the same day in a train while traveling from Chennai to Madurai. A week ago, he released the video titled Sterlite, Hidden Truth, where he accused 2 senior police officers and the officials of the Sterlite for plotting the attacks. The 2 police officers he named were transferred out of the area by June 2018. The Amnesty International India reported that Mud Elon had a history of fighting against sand mining mafias and polluting factories. After 100 days after his disappearance, his wife alleged of constant harassment by the CBCID. In July 2019, Mud Elon was found after missing for 5 months in a railway station at Thoothukudi, where he was arrested by the police and handed over to the CBCID. On March 2, a demonstration was held in Chennai, demanding that an activist be found urgently by the Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, Maramalarki Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, Viduthalai Kayarathadal Katchi, and the Communist Party of India. On November 12, 2019, Mud Elon was brought for a one-man commission for questioning regarding the Thoothukudi incident. He said that he was kidnapped from the railway station and the abductors threatened him to stop working against the Sterlite and showed him a newspaper clipping which mentioned his wife and son had died in a road accident. He claimed they'd also threatened to embarrass him in public, injected him with drugs to keep him unconscious, and left him in a village in Jharkhand where a nomadic group helped him recover, and he wandered with the nomads for 2 months, devastated with the fake news about his family, before reaching Thoothukudi. He also claimed he was not allowed to speak his claims before the judicial magistrate in Kannur. The Madras High Court dismissed his affidavit as a fabricated story. He also demanded the commission to investigate Rahul Gandhi for linking the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh (RSS) with the firing incident. On October 28, 2018, the Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board reported that the sulfur dioxide levels in the air had reduced significantly after the Sterlite plant's closure. In November 2019, the Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board reported that the ambient air quality had improved dramatically after the closure of the plant.